Hello everyone, I'm Marc Daniel Patrick. Thank you so much for checking out the channel and for joining me on here. Just before we get started, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and you can also find me at my Patreon page. We have over 200 reaction videos that do not and will never appear on YouTube. You can find the link to join in the description below. So just for the simple fact that so many people have gone through the very dangerous feat of trying to bootleg this entire musical, I thought we'd take a look at another clip. Now, I loved reading all of your comments from the last video. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put the link up here. It always amazes me how heated people get when someone doesn't share the same opinion they do. It's a joy to read, I'll tell you, it really is. One thing that keeps coming up is the audience reactions to Lea Michele on stage, and I'll address that in this video as we go along a little bit later. Today we're looking at Lea Michele performing the finale number of the show, and it's a bit of a difficult task because after the melodrama that is the second act, Lea's now in charge of basically waking the audience up, mostly so that the ushers don't have to do it once the house lights come up. So let's go take a look at how she did.
Did you hear that? Funny. Yeah, the guy said, honey, you're a funny girl. That's me. I just keep 'em in stitches, doubled in half. And though I may be all wrong for the guy, I'm good for a laugh. I guess it's not funny. Life is far from sunny when the laugh is over and the joke's on you. A girl ought to have a sense of humor. That's one thing you really need for sure when you're a funny girl. The fella said, a funny girl. Funny how it ain't so funny. Funny girl.
That's a good note.
Places, Miss Price.
I marched my band out. I beat my drum. I guess we didn't make it. At least I didn't fake it. Who is the pip with pizzazz? Who is all ginger and jazz? Who is as glamorous as? Who's an American beauty rose with an American beauty nose and 10 American beauty toes? Eyes on the target and wham! One shot, one gunshot, and bam! Hey, gorgeous, here we go again.
Wow. I've always thought it was interesting how the show ends on just that. They know, like, the first act ends on it. The second act needs to end on it. It's the one song. Actually, there's a couple of great numbers in this, but that's the one song that everyone is going to remember going home. And so they have to give it to you right at the end. That's just, it's a weird transition to get her into that song. Whatever, it is what it is, and that's what everyone came to see, and they absolutely get it at the end of the show. Okay, there's a couple of comments I want to make, so let's go back to the beginning and watch it again. There needs to be some bootleg performances of him. Some Ramin Karimloo, please. If anyone, I haven't found any. He's got a couple of numbers in this show, though, so if anyone has some bootleg copies of that, we know Ramin is an absolute treasure of the Broadway stage, and so he'd be great to react to, too.
Funny. Did you hear that? Funny. Yeah, the guy said, honey, you're a funny girl. That's me. I just keep 'em in stitches, doubled in half.
It's actually a very difficult feat here to, obviously she's just staring at herself into the makeup mirror and trying to react as if you're looking at yourself in the mirror. It's a bit of a difficult feat as you look out at the audience here. And I got to admit, she shocked me here with this one. I've never thought of Lea Michele as a serious, moving actress. She can move you with her voice, can she ever? But in terms of her straight acting, does she really bring you to tears? Can she really move you? This isn't too bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And I know so many people are going to say, oh, why you got to judge her before you get into it? Because that's what everyone does. Everyone comes into these things with their preconceived notions, and she's either going to prove me right or she's going to prove me wrong. And right now, she's doing a pretty good job of proving me wrong because I believe it. I believe every word that she's saying here.
And though I may be all wrong for the guy, I'm good for a laugh. I guess it's not funny. Life is far from sunny when the laugh is over and the joke's on you.
I wish she would stop pointing at herself. We get it. You're looking at yourself in the mirror. The point thing just annoys me. It's a really small thing, don't get me wrong, but the fact that you keep pointing, like, what are you trying to remind the audience that you're talking to yourself? We get it. Just stay in the scene. So that's a small note that I really don't like. The opening of this finale really sounds like a Sondheim number. And like I've said many times on this channel, he allows you to really find your character and dig in even while you're singing. And that's what she's kind of doing here. There's a great number he wrote, I'm Losing My Mind, which sounds very similar to this opening here. I really see a lot of similarities between those two numbers, but what it forces you to do is play the truth. It forces you to really understand who you are, who your character is, and play that. And so far, like I said, she's kind of delivering on that.
Girl, ought to have a sense of humor. That's one thing you really need for sure when you're a funny girl. The fellow said, funny girl. Funny. How it ain't so funny. Funny girl.
That's a really good note. I love how she finishes that. That's really well done.
Places. Miss Price.
I marched my band out. I beat my drum.
So that's one area. It just seems like it's the melodrama of the second act. I hate that she breaks down in that sing those two lines, and maybe on drum then allow yourself to get emotional and cry through this instrumental part. It's a weird beat for me. It doesn't, I don't believe her getting into that just breaking down crying here. It's a little bit forced for me. It's a small thing, I guess. Now, although those, at least I didn't fake it. Where is she? She's no longer looking in the mirror. She starts to look off to the side there. And so many of those lines, like Fanny Bryce is Lea Michele. Lea Michele is Fanny Bryce. She was born to play this character. We've talked about it ad nauseum. So many of those last lines, at least I didn't fake it. Like, who is she talking to there? There's no better real life scenario for an actress to bring into their work than what Lea Michele has maybe gone through over the last couple of years, and now trying to channel it into Fanny. Those lines should really hit deep and make a lot of sense to her in this song.
Who is all ginger and jazz? Who is as glamorous as? Who's an American beauty rose with an American beauty nose and 10 American beauty toes? Eyes on the target and wham! One shot, one gunshot, and bam! Hey, gorgeous, here we go.
Okay, so just before she gets into her final number here, look, the audience reactions, that whoop right there from someone in the audience, it's maybe not called for. I get it. I understand why true theater aficionados will be annoyed with that. And a lot of people made comments about that in the last video. Look, Lea Michele comes to this show with her own fan base, a huge fan base, a fan base that would never set foot in a theater to see this show if it wasn't for this girl right here. So they have spent years and years cheering and crying and whooping and hollering from their couch in their living room at their TV as she sang her 40th solo of each season of Glee. So now when they're 20-30 feet away from their actual idol, yeah, they're going to kind of let that energy out. And anyone who's been on stage before knows what it feels like to have no energy in the room. I tell you, ask anyone who's done theater, live theater, been on stage before. The second you hit that stage, you can feel it. You don't need sounds at all from the audience. You can just feel if the energy in the room is just dragging and falling, or if the audience is alive and ready for you to absolutely wow them. So really, a lot of this energy coming off the audience really feeds well into her, and I know it gives her energy and pushes her on in these numbers. So, I mean, if you were to ask Lea, I swear she would say, yeah, it's a little bit hard to navigate when to come in and out. I did mention that in the last video. So when to sing, when to not sing, when to let the audience die down. But would you have it any other way? She wants that energy from the audience. She wants that validation that she's actually making them feel something, even if it's just because they are blind, unwavering fans and have been for years. You gotta, in this instance, I think you kind of gotta accept it. And for me, if I was there, yeah, I want to hear her sing the numbers. I've paid so much money to be there to hear her sing live, but I also paid to be part of 300-400 other people that are sitting witnessing a live moment that will never be exactly the same again. So I don't know. It goes both ways. I understand what the theater people are saying, but I feel like this energy really feeds into Lea Michele's performance and kind of pushes her each night to make it better and better. think you could hear the roof rattling with that one. Oh my God, that exhale at the end of that first part. Oh God, that means a lot. There's a lot in that for Lea for sure. Just, I don't know what that, just letting out the biggest sigh, letting out all the stress off her body. Oh, you could feel it. And then her final note, I mean, is just what everyone comes to see. I think all the lights on Times Square, I think, start to flutter and flicker a little bit once she's hitting that final note in the show, just because it's that powerful. Yeah, she surprised me. She really surprises me with some acting chops in this song, and it's so, I love that. It's so good to see. I love when I'm proven wrong time and time again of what I think I'm going to expect, and then she kind of just all of a sudden steps up and gives me something that just, I don't know, it just makes me fall in love with her as the performer even more. So many people compare Streisand and Lea Michele. It's comments on comments. It's just endless debates on who's better. It does not matter. Streisand maybe has the upper hand just because she's the OG and she originated this role and kind of gave everyone else permission to sing this song the way they do. But who cares who's better? That's not what we're comparing here. We're comparing how Lea Michele does in this role right now in the modern interpretation of this show. That's all that matters. You cannot compare them against each other. No one will ever win. Everyone has different opinions. So it's just wasting your breath going back and forth on trying to compare two massive icons in the theater world and in the music scene. And that's the last thing I'll say on it. People will still debate it in the comments. Of course they will, because people just can't help themselves. But honestly, Streisand and Michele are joining the likes of the late Dame Angela Lansbury as some of the best actresses to ever hit the Broadway stage. All right, that's all the time we have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, leave me those comments of what you thought of this video and maybe what you'd like to see in the future. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, join me at my Patreon page, and I'm Marc Daniel Patrick, and we'll see you next time.